welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the full card of fights for UFC Fight Night, Oliveira versus Gamrot. So without further ado, let's get to the first fight on the card that I'll be predicting. So first fight on the card, we have in the bantamweight division, we got Simon Oliveira versus Lucerda. And how do I feel about this one right here? I'm going average confidence Lucerda to beat Simon Oliveira. I think both of these guys are solid guys, but both of them are like at points where solid talents, but they're just really not. Well, Oliveira, since I'm not picking him, seemingly not cut out for the UFC. Lucerda might have a second chance, and by winning this fight, if he wins it, what I think he will, average confidence Lucerda, I think he'll earn that second opportunity to stick around in the UFC. But yeah, my main thing here, I just think they're both solid, polished fighters, but Oliveira does have some questionable wrestling defense, and Lucerda does have the better, I guess, wrestling of the two, and the better takedown defense of the two, and I think he can use that to his advantage to score takedowns on Oliveira. Then on the feet, I think he's a little bit sharper on the feet as well. But overall, I think he's the better overall fighter here, and he's the better overall skill set, and more paths to victory here, in my opinion. I think this one goes the distance, good competitive scrap, but I think Lucerda will be able to get takedowns and also be able to land the better strikes. But the key thing is, again, land the more significant strikes and also be able to get those takedowns. Even if the fight is close, that will also be a big differential, getting those takedowns. Probably adding some control time in there as well, and multiple takedowns, and be able to grind his way to a decision over Oliveira. So, in this one, I have Lucerda via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the heavyweight division, we got Walter Walker versus Muhammad Usman. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going, I'll go average confidence. Average confidence, Walter Walker to beat Muhammad Usman or Mo Usman. Mo Usman, like his IQ as far as the fighter is growing a bit, but I don't feel like his skill set has been involving that much. And I just feel like Walter Walker is just the better fighter right now, and he's on a tear right now, like a legitimate tear right now, tearing people's legs up and knees up. And I think he's going to rinse and repeat what he's been doing recently. I think he'll be a go out there, press the action against Usman, maybe shoot like a takedown, get Usman to try to defend it, and roll for a leg lock, and I think tap him out first round. That's what I'll say. Could be second round, but I'll say another knee bar or something, leg ankle lock or something. Tap him out first round. So in this one, I got Walter Walker via first round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the flyweight division, we got Filho versus Clayton Carpenter. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going low confidence. Clayton Carpenter beat Filho. I think Filho is a solid fighter. And really his last fight was his fight to win. But he dropped the ball. And I think he'll drop the ball in similar fashion here against Clayton Carpenter. I think Carpenter has the wrestling and grappling to keep Filho honest. I think Filho is a more dangerous striker here. Carpenter's no slouch in the striking either. But Filho definitely presents much more danger on the feet. But in his last fight showed, he could get the takedowns. But when reversed, he spends too much time on bottom and just kind of accepted the position. He was trying to go for some submission on his back. But when you go into another competent grappler, he can be stalled out there like other solid grapplers. A lot of these solid BJJ guys, when they go in there with another guy that has good BJJ, they could end up spending a lot of time on bottom. And because they try to go for, they try to do the jiu-jitsu approach. They try to treat it like a BJJ match a lot of times and just go to their instinct. Or they just get stalled out there because now they're going in with another competent grappler who has skills similar to theirs or at least similar levels to theirs. And they can't get off the same things they would get off against other guys. And I feel like Carpenter is a pretty solid grappler. I think definitely clearly the better wrestler here. And he get those same top positions that Nascimento was able to get. Maybe not as strong as Nascimento there, but he can get similar positions and kind of stall Filho out and grind him out to a decision. But still a close competitive scrap, but I think Carpenter will be able to capitalize off those same areas where Nascimento was in his own way. Not exactly, but in his own way. And grind out Filho to a decision here. So in this one, I got Clayton Carpenter via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the bantamweight division, we got Irina Alekseeva versus Beatriz Mesquita. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going average confidence Beatriz Mesquita to beat Irina Alekseeva. So yeah, Alekseeva's a one-dimensional fighter. Beatriz for the most part is a one-dimensional fighter, but Beatriz Mesquita is actually a high-level grappler. I don't think Alekseeva has any real accolades as a pure grappler, not in no judo, not in this, not in that, like no true high level accolades. Mesquita was one of the best female BJJ practitioners for many years, and her level of grappling and her level of BJJ is just on a different level. I think she'll be able to extend Alekseeva to the second round. She might be able to submit her in the first round, but I feel like she's going to take her time. I feel like she's going to go out and just run through her. I think she can, but I think she's going to take her time, let the submission materialize. So first round, probably set her up, take her down and dominate on the ground. Second round, take her down, pep her up, then tap her out second round. So I think it'll be a little bit of a little bit of wind down, a little bit of breakdown before she gets the submission. So I don't think it's going to be exactly in the first round, but I do see her getting the submission. I just think it's going to take a little bit of time, and then I think she gets it in the second round. So in this one, I have Beatriz Mesquita via second round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the strawweight division, we got Julia Polastri versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. And how do I feel about this one? Well, my throat want to get dry now, but yeah. Average confidence, Julia Polastri to beat Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Kowalkiewicz is up there in age and definitely on a decline. It has long been on decline. She was able to get a little rally, a little resurgence for like 3 fights, but she's definitely declined now. She's pushing 40 versus a 27-year-old Polastri. So I think Polastri's a good fight for Polastri. Polastri will be the sharper, younger striker here. She'll be able to push the pace and be able to grind. Hey, I'm going to get all these notifications now. But it is what it is. But yeah, younger, hungrier, fresher fighter, be able to push the pace, and that's the main thing. Whereas in the grappling and striking on both, she's solid enough to beat a 40-year-old Kowalkiewicz. That's all. That's just all it is. Like, don't need to make anything more than what it is. She's good enough and young enough to beat a 40-year-old Kowalkiewicz. That's all it is. No need to beat around the bush. Julia Polastri via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the heavyweight division, we got Vitor Petrino versus Thomas Petersen. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going average confidence. Vitor Petrino to beat Thomas Petersen. Is Petersen come off I think come off decision one, but yeah, I think Petrino's solid enough to beat Thomas Petersen in average confidence. I think he's a better striker. I think he's a better grappler. You know, especially coming up from a more technical division than light heavyweight and still, you know, being a big guy here. He was a huge light heavyweight, and coming up to heavyweight, he's not a small heavyweight. He's put on the size pretty well. His skills are pretty sharp. The younger fighter here, taller fighter here, has the longer reach. Will have the faster hands, heavier hands as well, and will be the better grappler here too. I think he's gonna probably look to gain the respect of Petersen with his power. Then from there, look to set up his takedown, take him to the ground, and I'm gonna say a second round submission for Vitor Petrino here. So in this one, I got Vitor Petrino via second round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the flyweight division, we got Lucas Rocha versus Stuart Nicoll. And how do I feel about this one right here? I'm going low confidence, Lucas Rocha to beat Stuart Nicoll. So yeah, Stuart Nicoll's competition outside of UFC was very weak. He came to the UFC and got dominated. He came into favor for whatever reason and then got submitted. I forget what happened, but he got dominated. I think he got caught in the guillotine. But either way, he got picked apart, then submitted. But yeah, not that impressive competition. Lucas Rocha has fought much better competition. I do worry that Lucas Nicoll might be able to try to grind him out with grappling here. But again, I don't really rate his grappling that well because against the level competition he did, and when he fought better competition, his grappling really just did not show up. So I can't really rate his grappling that much. I think Lucas Rocha is a much better striker here, and also he's a submission threat as well. But I'll say like a TKO. I'm gonna say like a second round TKO for Lucas Rocha. I think he'll kind of like look to stab him to the body with some teeps. You know, make him for the power, break him down, stuff some of the takedowns, and dig to his body and break him down over the first round. And then the second round, a worn down Nicoll will be kind of a sitting target. I think he'll be able to really pile the volume on and get him out of there in the second round. So in this one, I got Lucas Rocha via second round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the welterweight division, we got Vicente Luque versus Joel Alvarez. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going low confidence, Joel Alvarez to beat Vicente Luque. So I don't know how he's going to fare coming up. Like some people come up, you know, in their first fight's a bang, like they go up in this good, smooth transition. Some people it's a rough patch. Who knows? And also you can't sleep on Luque like he's just some scrub. Luque was a long time top welterweight. He's also beat several long fighters. Like he knocked out Jalen Turner. He knocked out I think he beat Neil Magny. Did he fight Neil Magny? I think he fought Neil Magny, beat him. But I know for sure he beat Randy Brown, so another long, lanky striker. So he's beat some guys with similar frames to Joel Alvarez. And Joel Alvarez, like one of the best things about him is how big he is. And now he's coming to welterweight. He's not going to have that same advantage. He's not fighting guys that are, you know, so amazed by how big he is. Like he's not a huge welterweight. Joel Alvarez. He's a decent sized welterweight, but he's not a huge welterweight. He's a huge lightweight, but as a welterweight, he's not a huge welterweight. Well, I guess you could say he's 6'3", so he's a good size, but he's not filled out. So then this is his first fight, so he's not going to truly fill out in his first fight at welterweight. But yeah, I'll pick him here. Vicente Luque is older. He's not that older, but he does have a lot more mileage, and that's the older I'm talking about. He has more mileage. He's had several TKO losses, and his chin has always been kind of suspect as far as I know. Like he might have never been really TKO'd at one point. He has been now, but he has always been suspect to get rocked and wobbled, and now he's been TKO'd a couple times, and he's fighting a faster, sharper fighter right now, coming from lightweight, and his brain might not be as receptive to the speed and sharpness of Alvarez at this point in his career, and I think Alvarez could take advantage of that. Maybe Luque in the past, there's probably be a fight where he'd come in and and give lessons and give levels and stuff like he did with Turner in the past, like he did with Randy Brown in the past. But now he has mileage on him. He's been knocked out multiple times. He's been hurt multiple times now. He's been in wars. And even though he's only 33, he's much older than 33 that says on his birth certificate or his ID or whatnot. So y'all go to Alvarez. I think he'll be able to flash, hurt him and put him away. And I'll say second round TKO for Joel Alvarez. So in this one, I got Joel Alvarez via second round TKO. Now to our next fight we have in the featherweight division, we got Ricardo Ramos versus Ofli. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going low confidence Ricardo Ramos to beat Ofli. This might be one of the fights where Ramos lands a spinning back up and knocks him out. Like he has like 2 or 3 fights like that. I could feel it being that fight, but I'll say decision. I think Ofli's shown some good skills against Naimov. Outside that, he hasn't really shown me too much. He showed some good stuff on the Ultimate Fighter and whatnot up until the finale. Then he got sparked in the finale. But in Naimov fight, even though it was lost, he showed improvement in striking, showed a good overall skill set, and gave Naimov a pretty good fight, is what I'll say. But as far as against Ramos, I think Ramos is a better striker than him, far more experienced, probably not giving up much age, if any. Yeah, he's actually younger, more tested, better wins and whatnot, better grappler here. Just think he's the better overall fighter. I could see a finish here, but Ofli has, he showed me enough in the 9-month fight. I think this will be a good competitive scrap through 15 minutes. But I think again, Ramos will be the better fighter overall, be able to win the fight on the feet and win the fight on the ground. And I think he beats Ofli by decision here. So in this one, I got Ricardo Ramos via decision. Now to the next fight we have in the featherweight division, we got Lucas Almeida versus Michael Aswell. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going low confidence Lucas Almeida to beat Michael Aswell. So Aswell is a solid fighter, but I feel like this is a similar kind of situation that Almeida has been in. I forget the guy's name before it, but he also was a Balaji Oki victim. And then he came down to featherweight. Like he came in on short notice, I guess, or something, and debuted and fought Oki and got picked apart, but went the distance. And then, he was supposed to come down and beat Almeida. Then Almeida started okay. Then Almeida started to rock him, and then from there the guy could never recover in that fight. I think he survived all the way to the decision, but he got rocked and took a big beating in that fight. And Aswell, another guy coming off getting picked apart by Oki. Now he's coming down to he's coming down to featherweight, and a good chunk of people are feeling like, oh, he's going to do better that he found his weight class. But I think Aswell is a solid fighter. But again, I'm not saying nothing too stand about. Like he seems like he has the template, but no outstanding talent, I guess, or no outstanding nothing that makes him truly special. Like he goes to the gym, probably trains hard, probably well-rounded, and probably can hold it on with everyone in the gym. But as far as, when you get to the cage or whatever, when you get to the bright lights of UFC, you can't just be good enough or that good. You got to have something that sounds like you got some crazy speed, you got some crazy power. Is your IQ that good or something like that? And nothing about him really stands out. And I feel like it's a similar fight. I feel like his last opponent, again, the guy, I'm forgetting his name off the top of my head. I'm not going to Google it or nothing or pull it up right now. I don't care to do all that. But, yeah, and that guy since then has got to win. So it's not like Almeida just just beat guys that aren't UFC level. He's fought some good UFC guys. And also, Almeida's coming off a split decision against another solid fighter. So he's been fighting good competition and holding well. And the only time he truly got really dominated, well, he got knocked out by, what's his name? He got knocked out in one fight. The other fight, he got dominated ground game. So it's never like, as far as this, a striking battle, he ever got, like, dominated. He's either won or pretty close and competitive. But all in all, I think Almeida will be able to land the heavier shots. And as will probably have more value, but Almeida will probably be able to catch him, hurt him at several points in this fight. And that will be the differential here, or the difference here. So in this one, I got Lucas Almeida via decision. Now on to our next fight. We have in the heavyweight division, we got Jonata Diniz versus Mario Pinto. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going low confidence Mario Pinto to beat Jonata Diniz. And yeah, Diniz continues to disappoint me even in wins. Like, he disappoints me wins or lose. Like, he disappoints me win or lose. Pinto, like, he still, like, has a lot to prove. Diniz has definitely had more fights in the UFC. Pinto has not shown me enough, but I do feel like he has more upside as of right now, or at least, at the very least, he has not disappointed me as much as Diniz has. And, yeah, I think Mario Pinto has a higher ceiling as of right now, based off, and this fight will be a good judge. Like, whether his ceiling stays where it's at, where it goes other, what am I saying? Whether it go higher, it stays where it's at, or it lowers. But I think he'll be able to pass this test. I think he'll be able to beat Diniz, and I think he knocks him out. I'm going to say second round TKO for Pinto. I see Diniz get rocked, not rocked, but I see him get buzzed by a grappler who doesn't really have power before in one of his fights. Multiple times at that in that fight. I got you to say the same for Pinto, but again, where am I going with this? I really don't got a whole lot to say here. Diniz has a more extensive striking background, but I just feel like Pinto has a higher ceiling, just a more athletic fighter. And once he starts to piece it all together and his skills start to match his athletics, I think the sky's the limit. I think he'll be able to find his shots, and I think he'll be able to connect on Diniz's chin and put him out in the second round. And that's about all I'm going to say. So, or that literally is all I'm going to say. So in this one, I got Mario Pinto via second round TKO. But definitely a matchup, you can't feel too confident in it either way, because, yeah, still need to see a lot more for him. And this fight will be a good judge of how we judge him going forward for the time being. Next fight we have in our co-main event in the bantamweight division, we got Deiveson Figueiredo, former flyweight champion, versus Montel Jackson. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going average confidence Montel Jackson to beat Deiveson Figueiredo. So Figueiredo's up there in age, coming off a really a bad loss. The other loss wasn't that bad. It was a competitive scrap against Petr Yan. But his last fight, he just could not find nothing. Like, he couldn't find his range on the feet. Was this too big, this oversized, overmatched, and like he couldn't find an answer in that fight. Then he got, injured. But it definitely was a no fluke. Sandhagen put in position to injure himself. But anyway, Montel Jackson is smack dab in his prime. He's coming along now, and I don't think he's gonna be so quick to be denied, especially not by a guy who has already had his time in Figueiredo, a smaller guy, a flyweight. And yeah, Jackson will be the much bigger guy, 5 inches taller, more than a 5-inch reach advantage, with like a 7.5-inch reach advantage, 4-year youth advantage, and a 5-inch height advantage. So Jackson will have a lot of advantages here. I think he's locked in, he's dialed in. And I'll say he'll knock Figueiredo out. I do have concern. My biggest concern here is the grappling. Jackson has been, I think at least, in both his losses, he did get taken down and grinded out to decisions in both his losses. And Figueiredo did show some good offensive grappling in several of his fights at this weight class now. And that's the biggest concern here for me. But I just think Figueiredo will be a little bit too small. And I think Jackson, he's prepared for it. He's learned his lesson, at least for now. And I don't think he's going to be so quick to give up a loss to a guy who has already had his time. Older, smaller, and giving up a lot of, reach, giving up a lot of height, a lot of years. And I don't think it's going to be a fight where Jackson's going to be, he's going to lose it. I think Jackson come here, look sharp, and probably look the best he's ever looked. I feel like he'll be using his reach and his power, his athleticism to be able to pick apart Figueiredo, snipe him, and put him out in the second round. So in this one, I got Montel Jackson via second round TKO. Now to our next fight we have in the lightweight division, we got Charles Oliveira versus Matus Gamrot, and how do I feel about this one right here is I'm going low confidence. Mateusz Gamrot to beat Charles Oliveira. So Charles Oliveira is amazing talent. I'm definitely not going that route. Like, oh, he's washed. He's not this. He's not that. Oh, he's past his prime. I'm definitely not picking against him for that. Oliveira is very much who he is and who he has always been. And I still feel like, he's in his prime. At his peak. But he's going to lose because he's going to lose. Or as far as I'm picking him to lose, he's going to lose because he's going to lose because of styles. It's 5 rounds. I think Gamrot has the better conditioning. Oliveira is more of a finisher type fighter. Gamrot has been making improvements in his striking. Gamrot has, he really been putting in the work, but he's been not denied several times, because the UFC just felt like he was too boring to give him a title shot. And then he just came up short in close fights that you probably still could give his way. Well, Darius clearly won that one. But say the Hooker fight could have easily won his way and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't think he'll be one of those guys that that UFC's pushing and trying to rush to the top, which Gamrot clearly isn't. Like Gamrot, has been right there near the title multiple times or near the title shot multiple times. So he's not this guy that's gonna come here and get complacent because he's been there and now this is his biggest opportunity of his UFC career. And I think he's going to show up and do what needs to be done. I think this one goes all 5 rounds. And I just think, Gamrot's not a guy that's so easy to finish. Like, on the feet, he kind of has that Frankie Edgar, prime Frankie Edgar appeal to him. That prime Frankie Edgar attribute, with the same attributes that prime Frankie Edgar had to the extent. Say, you might be able to drop him, and he does get dropped a lot. Or at least dropped maybe once in about 80% or 90% of his UFC fights. But he pops right back up. He recovers very well. He's not a guy that's going to be looking for a way out. I can see Oliveira having him in pretty deep submissions. And unless you put him to sleep, I feel like Gamrot's going to find a way out of them. So I feel like Gamrot's very, he has solid grappling of his own. He's very durable. He recovers very well. He scrambles very well. And he's extremely tough. So that's a tough matchup for Oliveira. And I feel like Gamrot could mix these takedowns in and push a high pace that's going to cause Oliveira a lot of issues. And with the improved striking, I can see him even hurting Oliveira on the feet, give him issues on the feet. So his pacing, his improved striking, and his ability to grind and just stay in Oliveira's face despite adversity, and the fact that this is 5 rounds and not 3, I think these all are all things that's going to help Gamrot to win here. But close competitive scrap, but I think down the stretch, I think Gamrot's just going to be the one. His pace is going to cause Oliveira a lot of issues, and he's going to be able to eventually just outwork Oliveira over the course of the fight, especially in the later rounds, to grind Oliveira out to a decision here. So in this one, I have Mateusz Gamrot via decision. And so that concludes my fight predictions for the full card of fights for UFC Fight Night, Oliveira versus Gamrot. And as always, thanks for watching. Peace.